I'm going through my email. Mark as read. All right. I'm going through my email. I'm playing with my email. Sorry.
Hey, I'm excited for your email.
So we just had a night, kissed right up to like a half hour ago, getting a consultation for some home remodeling nonsense, you know?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
What are you remodeling?
The bathroom.
Okay.
It's been a long-standing project. It's been like patched up and whatever. And then we had someone come and look at it again and got a quote, got an estimate, and it's have you ever had anyone come in do some home remodeling stuff for you?
Yeah.
Recently, or
No, not recent. Well, I had some plumbing redone in the past 2 years. I had to get, I know we'll talk about your thing. I had to get a water pressure reducer put in my house.
Okay.
Because like the through a series of events, they changed a lot of the pipes and the water pressure went through the roof in my house because I'm like down in the like lowest part of the city. And my hot water heater kept like ejecting water because the pressure was too high. So they had to put that in. And when they did that, I had them run some different, as far pipe as they could go until they started hooking up to stuff I didn't want them messing with. I did that, but I didn't even get an estimate just because I know these guys. It was like, whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. I need it. And the other time I had work done was my bathroom was completely remodeled.
Okay.
And it was a friend. I have a small bathroom. My bathroom is literally 5 feet wide by maybe 10 feet deep at the most. It's like the tub, the toilet, and the sink all jammed together. But it was a friend of my brother's who did it. So he came right down. He's like, I can give you a quote for this. And then he just did it. So it was like, no problems. You know what I mean?
Right. So we're not getting the whole thing done. We're just getting the tub, right? Some of the other stuff we could do ourselves, like the retiling of the floor. You know, they sell like those like snap-in tile gimmicks, you know?
Right.
There's bits of tile that we're going to have to break off, that sort of thing. Excuse me. But, you know, any sort of like, and I say not major plumbing things, my brother can come and do. You know, he switched our house over from oil heat to gas heat, you know, in an afternoon.
Right.
He, you know, put in a new water heater in a day. You know, he just came in and it was like, I just pay for the water. You pay me what I pay, like whatever, right?
Right. And he fixed your leaky pipes in a year. So.
Right. Well, those ones he hasn't, but that's a bigger issue, and that's part of what's going on with this. You know, we had to go and get an estimate for something to fit around our bath.
Are you getting one of those over-the-top bathtubs kind of a deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the whole thing over it, right? So my brother, like, I'd always been wary of those for years and years.
I'm not a fan of, but go ahead.
But my brother was like, you know, he's in the front lines going to people's houses and doing those things. He suggested that we go and do it because if we actually hired, like, you know, a quote unquote real contractor to come and do it, it would be minimally $16,000, and it would be at least a week project at least. And then if they discovered stuff, it'd be more. So these people came in, they did the quick estimate here. And, you know, when these people come in, you know, they give you one price and then they give you another price. And then when you say, I'll think about it, they knock like $2,000 off the price.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just a lot of that all day today, filling out paperwork and, you know, going on with that. And then like 6 to 10 weeks, they'll be here to put all the stuff in, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Hopefully it'll go smoothly. I can't foresee any problems.
Well, he already told us, you know, the guy came in and he's like, okay, well, like, so the bathroom, the tub and the tile and everything around the tub needed to be taken care of. We've been in the house for 19 years, needed to be taken care of 19 years ago, right?
Right.
And we had just been doing like patches and quick hits and everything else on it, and it was just like to keep it like, okay, this will last us another 3 years. This will last us another 2 years. This will last us another whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he came in, and I'll be honest with you, we have a cast iron tub. Apparently, I didn't know that we had a cast iron tub. I don't know nothing about nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I should have known, because like when my kid was like a baby and he'd be in there with like magnets and shit, it'd stick to the tub. I'm like, I should have known. But anyway, so the tile, we've had to like regrout it like twice in the last 19 years, and it's just a haven for mold. And I really think that in there is a trigger for my asthma stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the sooner that we can get that out, the better. But because like where all that mold is like a soft spot where the tile is, and they're just going to come in and all rip it out. But he suggested that we tarp it up with like just a like garbage bag and duct tape. And, like, it doesn't matter what it looks like for the next like 6 to 10 weeks, because it's all getting ripped out anyway. So, it's extra shit that we got to do. This was the project that my wife decided to go forward with, as opposed to last week's thing, which was completely redoing our kitchen.
Right.
And believe me, I'm whatever she says we're doing, right? She says we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing that. But when she was laying out everything that we would need to do with the kitchen, that was a lot more work.
Yeah.
So this is okay. I'm all right with this. So why are you not a fan of these over the gimmick whatevers?
Because of the fact you just said, and it's not there. You have a spot that's soft and maybe moldy on the floor.
No, not on the floor, on the wall of the tub.
Okay, well, that's fine. Now you're just going over the top of everything, right?
Well, no.
you're taking the tile down, but the tub's staying, right?
Yes.
So if there's any mold or anything around that tub, you're just sealing it in. That's
okay.
Kind of the way I look at it. Like if there's anything ick under there, and I define ick as many, many broad things, it's like, we're not even going to look at that. We're just gonna tarp over it, kind of a deal.
Okay.
The new fake tub.
Right. So that's the thing. I don't, and again, there's still one more guy that has to come in and do like the real full, like ripping and tearing, as it were.
Right.
But, and this guy, when he came and he tested everything, the flooring in the bathroom is okay. The flooring under the tub is okay, where there was some leaks and stuff. It's the wall around the tub. And he had showed us some pictures of some demo stuff that they had come in and done. Like, if they come in and they say, it's like, okay, we think it's like this 3x3 square area that definitely needs to come out.
Right.
And when they pull that 3x3 square and they see that it needs to be like actually like 3x6, they just do it. They're not like, we only factored for 3, so we're only doing 3. We're going to leave this shit there, Mm-hmm. He showed us one that the guy had done in his own house, where he had it tarped off, and then when they got in there, they had to rip everything out because that's how bad it was behind the walls, and they had no clue until they actually got in there.
Right.
So, again, the tub itself is fine because it's like this cast iron monstrosity, and they're just going to put something over it, which is fine. Listen, as long as my wife's happy, that's really all that matters, right?
Right. Happy wife, happy life.
I'm trying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. I mean, when we put one of the properties that my father has, we put one of those metal roofs on. I think I told the story where we were, I was having the crew didn't speak any English, and when everything got messed up, I threatened to like cancel the check, and all of a sudden somebody spoke English. When they did, they had to cut a chunk of the roof out. Like they took and they're like, all right, this is the soft spot. We're just gonna, cut this out and throw some plywood over it, and then, put the metal roof on. So I kind of get that. I don't know. When I had my bathroom remodeled, it was because one of the things was underneath the tub. Well, I don't have a tub. I have a shower stall because there's not enough room for a tub.
You're not laying down taking bubble baths anytime soon.
No. We had a tub originally, but there wasn't a lot of like if you sat in it, your fucking knees were under your chin. So we did it, and I remember like the floor underneath, like as I was standing in the tub, I would step in spots, and you'd feel like, because it wasn't a tile shower thing, it was a plastic, like not a plastic, but you know what I mean, like a yeah. So it had give, and it was like the floor was rotted underneath. So they had to come in and take everything out. And when they did, I said, like, I'll steal the line from you. Like, I was like, when you fix this, you're taking this out. He goes, yeah, and we'll just put a piece of plywood down. I said, no, I want you to reinforce all the floor under, like, I want you to do extra. I'm willing to pay. And he's like, why? I said, because I'm a man of sizable carriage. And if that floor was given before, I don't want to one day have my leg go through the shower. Do you know what I mean? And I end up naked in the basement, impaled on whatever junk I have down there. He's like, okay, and he did. And that's kind of why, like, for the years, me and my father kind of like, and our family kind of have the same thing, where it's like, do the job and see what's in there. I just have a different view on things, and I get it. Everybody, you don't want to spend $1 kajillion on it, but it always seemed like whenever I needed something done, like we had people who you worked in. I wouldn't call it barter, but it was almost like that. Like, well, we'll fix this for you. Like my father did metal work. He's like, oh, well, I'll come weld your railings and fix them up and blah blah blah. You come and redo my pipes because they're leaking. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you'd get in there and you'd do shit.
So my brother has all that sort of thing, and he has that network of things, right? But that's people who are licensed and bonded in Lackawanna County.
Right.
And these are people who are unwilling to, or we don't want to pay for them to get licensed in Luzerne County so they can come down here and do it, right?
No, I get you. I mean, everybody here for mine is Lackawanna County,
Yeah. In the last 4 years, we've had 3 different electricians come out, look at our wiring, give us an estimate and say, no problem, let's do it. They're like, all right, we'll get back in touch with you. And then we never hear from them again.
Oh, that's the scourge of, fixing up stuff. Like when my water line leaked in the yard, luckily, like I said this before, when at the Cinnabon in the back, we let a friend of the family keep his machinery there, and he has excavating equipment and a dump truck. And I was like, oh, my water line's busted. I got to get somebody to dig it up. He's like, I'll dig it up, because we don't charge him a penny to put the machines there. So he came and he dug the whole thing, and he's like, here's your bill. And the bill from him, we had to get somebody to put the pipe in and hook it all up and make sure everything was good. And that guy was like, the friend who has the machinery on our property was like, take care of him. You know what I mean? Because he does all right for me. So like to dig up my water line for my yard, which should have been like $3,000-$4,000, was $900 to get all done. And the guy who excavated gave me a bill. He's like, the only reason I'm giving you the bill is not for the gas, like not for the fuel, not for my time. I had to go buy, like when you put pipe back down, you have to make sure there's no rocket. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
legally you have to put something around the pipe that's soft. So he's like, I had to go get that and that's what I paid for it. I paid, $200 or $300 for the material. You're paying for that, but you're not paying for to dig or whatever. And with this guy, you're paying for the pipe and like $400 for his time. And like he got in the hole, did it, and he's like, I'm gone. Now you guys have to fill it in. And I'm like, luckily, like I said, that was a $900 job. That could have been a $4,000 or $5,000 job,
Right.
So just luckily, I know people with equipment.
Yeah, that's the thing. My brother doesn't have the big, heavy moving equipment.
Right. And then on top of that, like you said, people come and I'll give you that. And then you call them and they do not want to come back. That's like when we got my father has the properties. I have 3 or 4, like I have a plumber, I have a general handyman, and an electrician. Like those are the 3 that you need, and they're reliable because they'll come when we need them. And luckily the handyman lives in one of my father's houses. So Like, and we give him a good deal. I think I might have even said this. Like, my grandmother gave him like the apartment, half a house, and we haven't raised. My grandmother didn't raise his rent, and she promised as long as you live there, we won't raise your rent. Haven't raised his rent since the 90s.
Mm.
So he's living at a good clip in there, but then he takes care of the house in like, we go in and there's new cabinets. He's like, yeah, I put new cabinets up. You know what I mean? Like, I put a new tub in because tomorrow we could double, almost triple, or we could kick him out and double and triple his rent and get somebody in there. But luckily, when we need something, he's going to come and he's going to put us on the list higher up, if that makes any sense.
You're a priority because you've been saving him money for the last 30 years or whatever it is. Exactly. So the only other real thing that we'll have, like the bath thing, like we have to rip up some tile and stuff, that's going to get ripped up anyway. So we're just like, fuck it. We're going to get like all of this tile done. At least it's a start on that. But that's like an easy job to pop that off, respackle, and paint stuff. And then I have my outside project we have a loose brick on one of the back steps. And we have 4 loose bricks in the front steps.
Mm-hmm.
And the only problem is I'm waiting for a non-muggy, non-rainy day to do it.
Good luck this week. This isn't the weather show. But.
Exactly. So, I wasn't talking about the weather. I was just talking about the steps project, right?
Right. I'm just saying. That's why I said you just,
Yeah. Because I've been plotting and planning of, how I need to do that. I've never worked with any sort of cement or bricklaying sort of thing. But we're gonna fudge it, and we're gonna cross our fingers and hope for the best on that, And I
just realized we have a mason guy too. I forgot about that.
There you go. You got lots of guys.
I got a guy who's got a guy. It's the way it goes.
Yeah. I ain't got no guys that got no guys. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I can't do nothing, so that's why
I can do basic stuff. I remember, what was it? Like stuff that I've gotten through osmosis from my brother and my dad, like basic plumbing stuff, like changing like what's the stupid thing, the flush valve inside thing.
Yeah, I get somebody to do that. I'm like,
I could do that. I could do general, stuff when the pilot goes out on the furnace. I know how to do that.
Right. The 3 things that I won't mess with in a house are water, electricity, and everything else.
There you go.
Because I don't want to mess it up. Water and electricity, I do not. That's if it's something small, like, if it's like maybe changing a washer. But I found out, and your brother could probably tell you, when you mess with a pipe, and you twist something, God only knows what that does through the rest of the pipes. You know what I mean? You could start leaking every which way. So, and electricity, I don't want to get zapped.
Electricity I won't even screw with. When I had to change like the pull chains on some of the whatchamacallits,
fixtures, the light bulb things.
The light fixtures downstairs, and I had to turn the electricity off to those things to do it. I was sweating. Like, I did it, but I was still sweating doing it,
And I was joking because I say water, electricity, and everything else. Definitely gas, because I have gas everything.
Yeah.
Get a professional, because I do not want to be a mushroom cloud. You know what I mean?
No. And like I said, that's why when we, converted over everything from oil to gas heat, like anything that comes up like that, I immediately call my brother. I'm like, hey man, you need to walk me through this. Yep. And I got 2 phones, you know what I mean? Like, one is video, the other one is him talking, because he's Apple stuff and I'm Android stuff, so we can't like iChat or whatever. Yeah. But like simple plumbing stuff. I don't know if I mentioned on here a little bit ago, but it was a while ago where we have the slop sink in the basement with the washer drains into, and that had gotten backed up, and my dad came in and cut a hole into the line to try to snake it, and he couldn't, so we had to call the Roto-Rooter man to do it, right?
And they ain't cheap.
Well, it was a couple $100, but it was like our water drains now,
No, that's fine, but house that my father has, that happens all the time. And the handyman, he ended up buying his own snake to snake it out.
Right.
But something happened and he wasn't around. We had to get the Roto-Rooter guy. And say it was like your whole bill is whatever.
Yeah.
A couple hundred. That's every time they go down. Like the house that we had multiple traps that you could go in.
Yeah.
And they go we drop it down, that's $200. I'm just using the number. That's $200 to snake that. Even though you have another trap on that same pipe, if you want us to go in that one and like go further down, because you only have so much footage of the cleaner, the pipe cleaner. So they're like, okay, well maybe the jam's further down. Well, if you want us to go into that trap, that's another every trap we go into, it's $200. Mm-hmm. It's not for the job. It's for each time we plunge the depths. Yeah. And I was like, fuck that. Then you start at the closest one to the street. And if that don't clear everything up, you go to the next one. You know what I mean? Like, but I wasn't a fan of that. I always thought that was squirrely. You know what I mean?
Well, we only have the one, and we have like a 10-foot snake here, and that wasn't getting it.
Right.
My dad has a 50-foot one that he borrowed from a job site before he retired.
Right. You got to be careful with those, though. They'll pop pipes.
Okay. Well, again, my dad is a professional, so again, I got no problem with him. So he cut the hole in the pipe. He cut the hole in the line so he can get an extra thing down there as opposed to from where we were hitting it from. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't do it. So when we called the Roto-Rooter guy, however far their thing goes, I literally heard a pop while the guy was down there doing it as he got through whatever was in there, right?
Right, yep.
So with all that being said, that was to take care of the sink where everything drains to in our basement, but we have the double sink upstairs in the kitchen, and the one on the left was going down no problem. The one on the right was always getting stopped up. So the one day about 2 months ago, I'm like, fuck it. I took the whole thing apart underneath, right? And I was pulling out the most disgusting shit you'll ever seen in your entire life. I'm flushing all the pieces and everything else like that. And I tell you, Todd, there is nothing more satisfying when we pour water down that right-hand sink thing, and the water doesn't drain now, Todd. It sucks down.
Right. These pipes are clean.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's been 2 months, and every time that right sink drains, I get like, I'm like, I did that. Ooh, I feel so good, right?
Yep. I'll tell you, with that, the snake, back at the Cinnabon, before the Cinnabon was a Cinnabon, it was a metal shop. And we would make stuff, and the floor would get grimy, and it had a drain in the floor. Maybe some oil, maybe some junk got into it, and that would clog up and would take the sink in, like the sinks in there from washing your hands with grease would get clogged up. And this was like in the late 80s, early 90s, and I'll never forget. And so my father talked to somebody who worked for the borough, and he's like, I got a clog, and I don't want to. And they're like, well, we'll come down with the industrial drain cleaner. I'll get you some of the industrial drain cleaner, right? And he got it for him. It was like a powder. He goes, I'm going to tell you right now, when you put that in, look away. He goes, because that shit is like acid for junk in a pipe.
Yeah.
And he goes, because if it does and it like opens up, it might backflow and blow that all those chemicals back into your face. And luckily, my father poured it down, and you could like hear it fizzing and doing shit. And then finally, like you said, it was like boof, and just like gone. And it's like, oh, you got to watch out for that. Yeah. But I will say, I did fix. I'm proud of myself. The other day, I fixed something in my house that I wanted. One, my uncle came down. We fixed the drain under my kitchen sink. Because he had the tools, he had to come and do it.
Sure.
And we changed because in the elbow underneath, which is where the water stays to keep the stink from the sewer out, that just rotted. It was dripping into a pan under my sink that I would empty out. And then so we changed that. That was a pain in the ass. Had to go get different parts. But I'm in my bathroom one night, and this is a Saturday night at I don't know 11:30 at night, and I got to go to the bathroom. Over the past couple of days, I'm smelling like something musty. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I can't figure out what it is. And finally, I look down and I have, like how you have shelves behind the toilet, so you can put like it's behind it, and you put the over the bowl is like you can put toilet paper or towels or soap or whatever.
Sure.
I had that, but it was just the corrugated cork wood with fake laminate on the side. And I look down, and the one leg is like spreading, and the cork is all like looking like it's falling apart. And I reach down and I touch the floor, and it's all wet. So I'm like, oh, what's going on? And you know how like the toilet tank is like my toilet's two pieces. There's a bowl and then the tank on top. A lot of them are one piece now. But I'm reaching underneath, and I could feel the bolts that hold the tank to the bowl, and on one side it's all water. Like water's dripping out of it. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Right? So, and I remember a while back sitting back on the tank, relaxing, if you get my meaning, and I felt the tank shift. So I was like, oh, well, I didn't even think anything about it. I think the bolts had loosened up over time, but maybe I was thinking like the gaskets are blown out, and like you got to fix them. So now it's 11:30 at night. I had to throw away the shelf. The shelf was like, just because it was waterlogged, I'm like, I'm not even keeping this. I can go to Ollie's or whatever and get one of these for $25. But I reached under, and I'm like, oh man, the water's just like, and I touched it again and moved some stuff, and now the water was just running out of the like bowl. And there's a pool because my house is like and like everybody over mine, it's shifted. So the water's like an inch deep up against the wall. So I got to sop all that up. I turn it off. I'm looking up like gaskets and all the stuff that I need if I got to get it. And then I think to myself, it's 11:30 on a Saturday night. Tomorrow, all the good plumbing stores are closed. You can go up Lowe's and get the universal shit, but I don't care what anybody says. The universal shit does not work. You need if you go ahead.
Not to interrupt you, I got a True Value place, like little mom and pop, whatever, 4 blocks from me, and they have Sunday hours. So yeah, I get you.
Well, it's not even so much. I have a True Value for like 5 minutes from me, but it's all like there's no I have a Toto toilet. There's no Toto parts. It's like this part works for Toto, Ferguson, this, that, everything. And I don't care what anybody says, that stuff never works. You want the part you need for that. And all the good plumbing stores are closed on Sunday. So
gotcha.
I'm like, I don't know. I said, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, those bolts are loose. So I had to go around the corner to the Cinnabon and get some wrenches at midnight. And I came back and I just tightened everything up. And I was like, well, okay, because everything's wet, even though I sopped it up. And the water's still like dripping out where the bolt is because it was been dripping for days. You know what I mean? Like it's probably saturated in there. I'm like, all right, I'm going to wipe everything up as best I can so it's dry. And then I'll wipe it up again in the morning from any residual that drips out, and we'll see. Then we'll know. Like, then if it stays dry, knock on wood, 2 days later, everything dried up good, and I tighten the bolts as tight as they go, and all it was loose. But me tightening 2 bolts, Joe, made me think I can attack. I can come over and fix your whole bathroom. Because
all right.
I'll be over. By fix your bathroom, I mean rip 3 things up, get really tired, and leave.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's my adventure in plumbing.
Hey, Todd, anything going on these days? No, nothing happened.
Nothing. You know what? You kickstarted, you like sparked a memory. Behind the scenes, Joe, maybe that was like a couple weeks ago and I forgot to mention it on the show.
Gotcha. You need to make notes for yourself.
Fuck notes. I'm still working on getting my comic orders right, so let me have that first.
All right. One thing at a time. Mm-hmm. So another thing at a time is the Patreon. Patreon.com/longboxheroes. We just recorded May 1994, previewing the past. Mm-hmm. Todd, there's been some updates in regards to the previews.
Oh, okay.
As I've mentioned on the show, these nigh on couple months, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got all in 94. We got all in 95. There's one thing missing in 96.
Right.
March of 96. And I have the alerts and I have everything else set for it. Every now and then I check. When somebody puts a lot of mixed issues of previews up, I always check, did somebody have March of 96? And then I looked it up to see what it was, and it has Kingdom Come on the cover, and I'm like, we're never going to get March of 96, right? So it was a guy who puts up a huge run of his own volition, right? and he's got from February of 1994 to January of 1997. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at them, and he's got pictures of everything stacked up. And I see March of 1996 there. Like, I don't need all these previews, right? I got all in 94. I got all in 95. I just need that one in 96, right? I got all in 96 except that one. So I just watch it. And it goes. Doesn't sell. So I send the guy a message. I go, hey. I'm a collector. I only need March of 1996. Would you be willing to break up the lot and sell that to me?
No.
And he says, nah, it'd be too much of a pain to break up the lot. I go, okay. And if you heard on the new Patreon tier that we have, the cutting room floor, $100 a month, the salacious stuff that Todd and I talk about, or if you come to the comic book shop on Wednesdays, you could hear it for free most times.
Right.
So another cycle of the guy having it up comes and goes. And I had said to Todd, I'm just going to message the guy and say, listen, I'm going to just pay you X, right? So I had said to you, I'm just going to give you like $20, $25, whatever, right?
Right.
But he's got January 97 to him. We need to start working on 97, right?
Right. Okay, but go ahead.
We got a couple 97s.
Yep.
So Monday morning, I see he's relisted the entire lot. And I go, hey. I send the guy a message. I go, for March of 96 and January 97, I'll give you $30.
Right.
Guy says sold. He sets up a separate listing just for me so I could buy those 2 issues. And he's like, you must have really wanted them. So then we get conversating back and forth. And I'll give the guy a shout out, right? He was nice enough to break that up for me. His eBay store, if you search Smile LP, SMILE LP altogether is like one word.
Right.
He's got lots of stuff, lots of comic stuff up there. Like, just looking at his site, he's got like these weird key issues that are like, how rare is it to see like key issues unslabbed or whatever it is, you know?
Right.
Like, in addition to all these previews and stuff, it's like, oh, here's the first Poison Ivy in Batman. Here's the first Kraven Amazing Spider-Man. Right. Here's the first Red Guardian Avengers. You know what I mean? Like, all these different just random key issues of stuff. Unslabbed, you know, they're red, they're whatever, right? But if you're looking for those things just to get for your collection because you want them, you know, he's got like the first, and like, listen, they're priced as they should be. He's got Amazing Spider-Man 50, the first Kingpin. You know, just looking through his stuff. So go support him because he was able to help me out and get me these the previews that I needed. And again, of course, because we had a couple smatterings of 1997, I had to pick up February as well.
Right. I think I have January of 97 here already.
It was on the list that you didn't.
Okay, I'll have to, because I remember when we talked last time, okay. I was like, I think I have January of 97, you know, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll just get the March then.
So according to what I had here from you, okay,
right,
we had 97.
Mm-hmm.
We had March, April. Again, not 96, because you have all of 96. March of 96. Don't get things mixed up.
No, I got that, and I don't think I have all of 96. I think I'm missing 2. No, okay, I'm getting confused, but go ahead.
Right, because we're getting it muddled. Right, so 97, what we have currently in hand is March, April, June, July, September.
Okay.
Because I'd picked those up from various lots, right?
Gotcha.
May is no problem. October, November, December, no problem. August, I got an eye on, but I don't got to worry about August of 1997 for at least another. I'll give myself 3 months before I really have to worry about it.
Hold on, give me 1 second. Do some vamping.
So yeah, definitely go sign up for the Patreon. As Todd mentioned, we also have the comic book oddities as well. We're watching the different movies.
I'm back.
Everyone should have gotten a chance to listen to Superman 3, where we redeem Superman 3, specifically the junkyard scene, which is arguably one of the greatest scenes, not just in superhero movies, but in movies, period.
Right. I'm back. Is January of 97 the one with blue Superman on the cover?
That I don't know.
January 97 for Ships in March. I'm holding it right in my hand, and I remember telling you at the shop that I had this one last week.
Well, we got 2 now.
Because when I was digging through some stuff, that's what I was like, because at the shop I remember, I'm like, don't get 97 in January. Like, if I have to buy the whole lot, we'll do it and we'll sell it. I said, okay. That I remember because we were like... But I was like, this was out of somewhere it showed up. I don't know if somebody at the shop gave it to us or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, as of 3 months ago, it was still missing, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. But because that's how I knew, because it was right on top out here. But we won't go into that because it would belabor that. But speaking of the other show, the Comic Book Oddities show, maybe when we do the next Patreon, which would be Man Thing, there might be an edition we have to talk about, or maybe 14 to 15 editions that are possibilities. Yeah. Oh, I found a shit ton of comic book movies that you would not expect. They're not like Batman or Superman. But
they're not superheroes, but they're comic books.
Right. They're all stuff that definitely was in comic book format first. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Some of them are like from DC or Marvel, but most of them are very weird stuff.
I like weird. Like I said, when we started this, we're like, we got 3 years worth of comic book oddities. If we could stack another year plus onto it, let's do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Maybe you're listening to this early. Maybe you're not. You should be listening to this early. Give us the $5 a month. Get us over $100 a month. Make us both feel good about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got very small goals in our lives.
Yes, super small.
Yes. All right. So, hey, everyone, thank you very much. This was Longbox Heroes After Dark, something or other, 494. So, yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.